Hey, what's up? This is Paul Solt. I'm back here with another Dev Life. I want to give you an update. Today, I want to dig into trying to see if I can get my app on TestFlight so that I can get a build out and just sort of playing around with it. Now, I know I'm going to have some problems. I'm going to have some issues, but what's most important is that it's now compiled 64-bit so that it will run on iOS 11. And I'm going to sort of jump through that whole process. We're going to jump on over to iTunesConnect. So I'm going to show you my screen and let's get started. All right, so here is iTunesConnect. I've updated this a little bit. There's some interesting things here, like there's app analytics that I can open up. Not many people are using this app anymore, but I want to get it so that I can at least use it on my device so that I can make backgrounds again. You can see 119 people found this on the search, so that's kind of cool, but it's not really getting a lot of traction. And part of the reason is because it's not available for most devices right now that are running iOS 11. So we're going to work on trying to get that up to date. I've incremented my version number and I'm going to try and create an archive build. So I'm going to go over to the menu, and in here, what I need to do is I have to do an archive. In order to do that, I need to switch this over to a generic iOS device or my actual device, and then I can do the archive from the product menu. So once I do that, that should pop up, and we'll wait and see what happens. So it's going to be doing some work along the top, and we'll just wait. So this part can take a little bit of time. Trying to submit a build to Apple is a little bit time consuming depending on how long it takes to build and if there's any issues. In the past, this used to be super glitchy. So I'm going to just try and upload this to the App Store. So we're going to call this build for iOS 11. And let's try and update or upload this. So it's going to try and create a signature for me. And while it's doing that, what I'm going to do is update my Git account. So I have the GitHub app. This is my Xcode 9 branch. And let's say updated for Xcode 9 and removed Flurry. All right. So here is where I'd write down what I changed. This sort of helps me keep track. So I updated project settings. So Apple provides some analytics now. All right, so that's what I do for a commit. Again, I'm using Git and GitHub. I'll commit this. This is on a separate branch. You can sort of see that we have these different sort of lines that signify that. What I need to do for this, let's jump back over here. This will give me good crash log stuff if things are crashing. So I'll do that. And this allows Apple to sort of rebuild for different hardware. I want Apple to automatically manage this. So we'll let that go. Looks like I need a new distribution certificate. And got it. I'll handle that later. All right, so since I haven't tried to use the automatic, what we're going to see here is that it just doesn't work. And so this is sort of one of the things that you'll run into working with legacy projects is that things have changed. We're going to look for the entitlements. I'm doing the search. Okay, I'm not seeing it. So I don't know if I have it in there or if it's just in the project itself. We're going to look to see if it is, I think it's under the info tag. if there was any. All right, so I'm probably going to just take a look at this and then come back to you. I don't want to bore you with sort of searching around until I know what I'm doing. But once I do that, I will be right back here. So sit tight and I'll be right back. Let me just. All right, so I'm back. I think I found a solution, but you never know until you try. So this is something that we're going to try out and see if it works. I found this recommendation to just turn some of the toggles on and off. So what we're going to do is come back to Xcode, and what I'll do is I'll click on my target, go to capabilities. Since I've never turned on any of these, let me see if there's any that I need. I don't think I really need any of them, but in order to get this to work, we're going to need to turn one on to potentially generate the file for us. And then I'll turn it off because I don't really plan to use iCloud. So I'll just turn that off and give that a second. It probably doesn't like that. We look here, we're going to see that there's a entitlement file that has been created and it's blank. So that's an XML sort of plist. And I don't know if it actually turned off or not. All right, that's fine. That's not going to be a problem. Let's just try and build. We can build. We're still in business. Then we can try and do another archive and see what happens. So this is one of the, I would say, frustrations when you're working with an old project is you never know what's going to work, what's not going to work. And it's a lot more fun when you start something new. But I want to get my old apps working on iOS 11 so that I can still use them. And we'll go ahead and do that. And while that's going, I'm going to try and find, I need to do something with my coffee app. And that's there. All right, so I think that was still the previous error. So I'm going to try this again. I'm just going to copy the message. Trying to fix entitlements. We'll upload this to the App Store. And while that's going, I need to do an update for my coffee app. So I don't really want to make any changes, but I'm going to see what changes I already have. So I'm doing Command-Shift-C. Sorry, that's wrong. Command-Option-C for the commit. And I can see what changed in here. So I opened the storyboard files. I don't know if I actually wanted to move things around. So what I can do is I can discard both of these changes. And I want to also make sure I have the latest version of that. So I'm going to go into GitHub and go to Brew Coffee. This is my coffee app. And I just want to make sure that I'm synchronized. So I have to do an update because beta tests expire every 90 days. And I've been super slow at adding new features to this app because it sort of works for me right now as a MVP product. So what I'm going to do is jump in here and I need to update the version number. There's really no code changes. If I click on like the XIB file, that's the user interface file, we can see a little widget that I've designed. Just opening this up is going to cause some issues or changes. And the same is true if I open up my prototype UI screen. You're going to see some of the screens in here mocked up. Just moving anything around in here is going to probably edit that. So if I do a build and we jump back over to Brew Coffees in the GitHub, what we're going to see is that there's going to be some changes. So just opening that up, we'll see that the version number changes. And I moved one of the canvases, so something moved around with that. All right, but I just need to rebuild this and I need to change the version. So anytime you want to update your TestFlight beta test, you have to come into your project settings over on the left. Then you have to go into General, and then you have to jump into here. And I'm not going to change the version. Changing the version requires approval. If I just change the build number from 31 to 32, I can then build an archive of this, and it looks like I need to switch this back over to generic iOS device, go to product, archive. I should be good to go. Now, I shouldn't have any breaking code changes, but I can test this out once it's submitted to the App Store, or I could test it now in the simulator. The only thing I'm changing is the build number and that one storyboard file. I move things around, so I don't expect things to break. All right, so let's jump back. We're sort of multitasking here. I'm trying to get Artwork Evolution on TestFlight, so I'm trying to see if it will automatically manage the code signing, which would be nice because managing it in the past was a super painful process. So let's try that, see what happens. It needs my password, so I'm going to give it my local password. And okay, so it's managing my distribution, beta TestFlight reports. Awesome. So we'll go ahead, upload that, cross our fingers. There's still a couple more steps to jump through. But once I do that, then I'll have a TestFlight build, and we'll be able to take the app, which is right now just running here, and push it out to all of my devices so that I can sort of see how things are going. All right, so that's uploading. Let's take a look at where am I with the Brew Coffee. All right, so Brew Coffee succeeded, but I can't now upload the beta until this other one finishes. So under Organizer, this, okay, we've got some updates to do. Apple's changed some more policies. All right, so let me just have a log. I'm going to take a screenshot of this. Sometimes you might want to copy one of these. So if you click on it, you can do a Command C and you can copy the message. So if you're not sure what the error is, we can just jump on over and search for it. And you might be able to find some information about. So if we go over to Stack Overflow, there's some support. Now this is a app that I haven't updated since iOS 7. So there's going to be some changes on iTunes that I still need to sort out. So the description length is too long, and I'll just search that one as well. Strange. Someone's saying that adding icons helps fix that one. So the full screen. I'm going to need a launch storyboard file. So I'm going to go over here. This is my log for kind of things that I need to do and things that I can do right now. So I'm just going to go ahead and add these different errors. All right, so just tracking what I do, I'm using a Markdown format. This app is called Multi Markdown Composer, and this is sort of a log of what I'm working on, sort of things that I need to test out. So like the iPhone X, the iPad, release mode for performance. Ran into some issues with it last time we were doing this, so I want to check those out. And it looks like we're gonna have to dig through some more stuff. So okay, so that's another issue. I think it's because it's doing the automatic app ID. I don't know if changing this at all. Turn this off. Enable automatic, turn it back on. This may or may not fix things. I'll turn that back on to my developer profile. Clean it. Sorry, this is Brew Coffee. That's the wrong one. I need to be doing this for the other one. But whatever, we need to update Brew Coffee, updated build number. So at least I want to try and see if I can get this on the App Store, because the sooner I do this, the less downtime I'm going to have when my coffee app actually does expire. And let's go ahead and hit next. The reason I have to do this is because my parents use my app all the time. And when it goes out of date, they don't have a way to make coffee reliably. So this is a brew. Brew Coffee is a pour over, and you can see I've got some coffee stuff behind me. It's a coffee app that is written in Swift. And so it should be less work to update. And I need to add some new features to it, which are coming in the near future. So you might see me talking about this app coming soon after I get past some of these issues with getting, well, now I have Artwork Evolution at least running on my phone, so I can start creating art again, which is nice. That's going to update. We're going to see if we can go through, I'm going to jump back over to Artwork Evolution's project and turn that off. We need to, so I don't know if changing this, so I'm just going to tab out of that. This should have to match in order to get this to work. Looks like I don't support landscape. I don't think I wanted landscape. I don't even know if my interface supports landscape on iPad, to be honest. It's all programmatic. So it might not work well. I might have to do a lot of work to get that to work. But they were talking about requires full screen might be a way to get around that. And I'll clean it. So turning this on and off, I don't know if this is going to help. Check the status. All right, so Brew Coffee was uploaded. I should be able to jump into it. And then under TestFlight, I'm going to see a new build processing. So this one expires in 5 days. I want to get that up to date. I've got a bunch of people using it. And we'll wait for that. So that's another thing to sort of check on. So the next thing, I don't know what this one is. I thought we had fixed icons, but maybe I didn't do that for this one like I thought I did. So this actually, I don't even know if this is using is this using the asset? I think I used the asset catalog. And then we updated this last time. Anyway, what's going to happen is Apple's going to send me a notification, and I'll get an Apple Watch notification, or I'll get it on my iPhone saying that it's updated the app. And when that happens, then I can install the beta version for the developer team. And once that happens, then I can enable a build for testing. And the UI is a little bit confusing, but I think you click on a build and then there's a way to expire the build in the top right, which I don't want to do. I want to extend the beta test. So you can see I've been just incrementing the version number, not making a whole lot of changes recently, just trying to extend the beta test because I'm still using it. A lot of research has been going on with how the app needs to be used, how it needs to, it's a recipe app for coffee. And one of the things that I discovered in sort of working with it is that it doesn't, the process isn't always the same everywhere. All right. So I'm going to have to get back to you on what these issues are with Artwork Evolution. I really don't know. I'm going to have to dig into that. And that's one of the things that you have to do when you're working on apps. You have to sort of problem solve as you go. The unfortunate thing with this is that I don't get feedback. So I'll do another archive, but I don't really get feedback until I do this again. And so that's why copying the error messages or taking a screenshot is super useful. I did both. And we'll see if any of these have been cleaned up. I don't know what it's talking about for description length. I don't know if that means the online store description. And if I were to jump into that, I could take a look to see if that's too long or if the title's too long. So I can't make a change to the title until I submit a new version. So I don't think that's what it's talking about, which was the first thing that I was thinking. In terms of pricing, what am I selling this for? $3? And if I want to change that, I could make it free. I can save it. The problem with free is if you do that, then you get a lot more questions. You get a lot more people who are having issues. You might get more negative reviews. It's not necessarily a bad thing. We've got some other options here for where it's available. They can recompile it, but the version that they have, they can't recompile, so that's not actually true. And I think that's where we're going to leave it today. So if this was useful, if you're interested in learning more about getting started with app development, let me know. And you can click like if this was interesting to watch. If this wasn't interesting to watch, let me know. I'm trying to keep these to about 30 minutes, and it's sort of walking through some of the process. I'm not going to show everything because sometimes it just requires digging through the weeds. And once I figure out a solution, then I might present it. But I don't want to keep these super technical unless you want them to be super technical. I want to show you more high level sort of where I'm going, directions, status updates, that type of thing. All right. Thanks so much for watching. Click the subscribe button that should be up here, and I will catch you later. All right. Have a good one.